dealing with multiple teams, multiple stakeholders, multiple products. And like I have to report up to like 3 or 4 levels. Okay, so if I'm reporting up 3 levels, each of those levels is a level in Jira, and then you get the story and you get the subtask, and you run out.
Yeah, components are a great way to categorize those items as well. I've seen teams use components as like UI team, dev team, or like whatever else. So if you're not using those in any other places, or maybe you have like a label field you could use, but components is a pretty common one to categorize in that way. Are you using the plans view or like advanced roadmaps at all?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
In fact, we started using that last year, and that has really helped us prioritize and keep focus. And in fact, we work on a quarterly basis, and every quarter I update my Scrum filters to only show issues that are in a particular child set, portfolio issues. Children of a particular portfolio issue, and that helps us from having people put things in the wrong place, and helps us keep focus on exactly what we need to. So yeah, that has been a tremendous help. Yeah, it's good if I can use a native Jira one as opposed to a one that I create, which I've done for some other things.
Yeah, I mean, custom fields tend to be pretty good use case for that, as long as you're not using a label field, because those are terrible to manage.
Oh
I mean, they're
yeah,
getting
yeah.
better, but
Try not to use those.
yeah, anything that's a multi-select dropdown is a pretty good option. But honestly, labels might actually be a good option moving forward, because Atlassian's making a lot of changes to that field in particular, and you can actually go in and start removing labels, adding labels. I don't know how far that'll extend. Maybe they'll make it very locked down in the future, but it is getting a little bit more robust.
Yeah, the labels, they just don't necessarily provide the structure we need.
Yeah, I
Okay.
recommend to stay away from labels almost at all costs. It's like you could use them as like a personal label field for like your own stuff if you want some of your own categorization, but not to
And that,
standardize.
yeah, and that's what everyone does. And I say, yeah, just use the label because we're not going to care what you put in there. I
Yep.
mean, we put a few things in there, common things, but otherwise, you know,
Mm.
that if you put something in there, it's not going to impact
Yeah.
us, anyone
Yep.
else.
All right, labels. So I could rant on about this for quite a while, but let me hit on the couple of reasons that you pretty much never want to use labels and some alternatives that you could use instead. So the core problem with labels is that when you start using them, it's very hard to standardize. So I might create a label called UX, and then someone goes in and types UX with lowercase or one lowercase letter, and now we have a new label. So this is obviously going to be super problematic for reporting in JQL. For example, if I have a board that I'm pulling in tasks from based on the label, and those labels start to get messed up, I'm automatically pulling in the wrong tasks. Same thing with reporting. As soon as you start to get into reporting and seeing burn down charts, workload, etc., it's going to be very hard to report on that label if it's not accurate and consistent. And they're really not consistent just because there's no standardization around them. That has been changing a little bit more. There's ways to add and remove labels that Atlassian's rolling out slowly, and maybe we'll get more standardization around it down the road. But as of today, I recommend 2 alternatives. The first one is just a component. I typically look at a component and use it as kind of the first layer of filtering within your projects. So any kind of a big element that you're filtering around, I would put that into your components. The second recommendation is going to be a custom field, specifically a multi-select. If you'd like, you could use a single select if you know that there's never going to be any other options, but multi-select is going to give you essentially that label feel without any of the label downside. So you could go in and remove and add values from the admin side, but all the users get to select and pick an existing value. And as I mentioned to Cash, a great way to use the label field is just to let anyone use it however they want. So if I want to start categorizing things my own way, I could use the labels field for that. If someone else on my team wants to do the same thing, there's no governance around it. Everyone can just go around and categorize things however they'd like without impacting anyone else's work.
Real quick, I've implemented Jira for over 200 companies. By far, the #1 reason teams reach out to us is because they built what they thought was a great solution, only to realize that nobody actually ended up using it. And if that sounds familiar, that's exactly what we help you fix. We're currently taking on new projects 4 to 6 weeks out. And if you want help implementing Jira in a way that your team will actually use, hit the first link in the description below.